Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. I'm hoping you guys are all having a fantastic day. So in today's video, as you can tell by the title, we will be talking about a chaotic weather pattern that is coming up in terms of its activity, the temperature swings, and just a few of these storm systems that I want to really show you that are rather fascinating, interesting, and also just how many of them there will be. There will be quite a bit. So definitely an active weather pattern, nothing slowing down in terms of the weather. And I kind of want to give you an update on that. So let's just start off right off the bat. I'm gonna play this slowly for you. Right off the bat, I want to show you that, well, what we do have is a system that just pulled away yesterday, dropped quite a bit of severe weather across really kind of Illinois yesterday. There was quite a bit of thunderstorms, and in the days prior across more of the southern plains. It did drop a little bit of snow across North Dakota, but you can see as it mainly pushes it towards the east, it's kind of dying away. So it's pretty much out of here. But quickly on its heels, we have this guy that's already erupting a lot of severe weather across the Texas panhandles of Oklahoma, panhandle as well, into New Mexico, and as we speak, really, it's starting to show off its true colors. And there will be several days of severe weather to do with this guy. You can see into tomorrow will be across Oklahoma, and also maybe with a little bit of chillier, some snow across the panhandle of Nebraska. They're kind of almost pushing into North Platte again. This model, the GFS shows that it's not really too confident. We're not really sure whether or not that will happen. You can see the National Weather Service doesn't have any advisories issued. They definitely do mention a chance of snow. Let me just click on this location right here and show you that little to no accumulation expected in this particular area. But let's take a look at their graphic here, and you can see that they do have snow possible, right? And even that darker color right there, that would be 2 to 3 inches. So definitely, sorry about that, definitely a possibility, to say the least. Okay, why am I here? I wanted to go to the, okay, let me just go back to the GFS and reload this for you. So there's that storm across Nebraska. This pushes east. A lot of more rain for Iowa, Illinois, Indiana, Michigan, right, the Northeast, keeping kind of the dreary pattern that's been going on for a lot of the Midwest and the Northeast. For my location, it's been just kind of a brutal April. It's just been so cold. Everything in the garden is just kind of standing still. Nothing's really growing. Just kind of an annoying weather pattern, but still better than last year where we pretty much had no rain. This year, on the other hand, we are pretty abundant with that. And notice, right, we have that system that goes away, but as the system is doing its thing across the west, tomorrow, another one sneaks in onto the northwest, brings some rain and snow into Washington, Oregon, into portions of Idaho, some precipitation, Montana, Wyoming, and it drops into the Midwest, drops more severe weather across Oklahoma. You can see right there potentially into Thursday, late Wednesday into Thursday, definitely something to watch for. And the Storm Prediction Center is already issuing a lot of weather outlooks for that today, even though it's still pretty far out. Hard to believe this is already the second system within such a short time period. You can see the first one's already well out of here. And again, a lot of rain, kind of drawn out, but eventually does go away and gives way to a bit of a more calmer pattern. You can see on Saturday, this upcoming Saturday, we don't have as much precipitation ongoing across the Midwest, but do note that there are still little periods of showers. It's still hanging around the Northeast, and of course we have this big new one that is very, very active across the West. I mean, it's very moisture laden. You can see very impactful, a lot of strong winds out ahead of it, and what the models do with this one is actually very interesting. So notice it initially shoots up a lot of precip into the Midwest. Maybe you think, oh, that's over, but look, this system eventually kind of develops a massive cold front. Some models, like the European and Canadian, shoot this system way back into Alberta and produce a lot of snow. I don't think the GFS is so excited about that, but look, it develops this massive cold front, right? I mean, a lot of severe weather potentially here going on. Definitely a concern. And notice that this thing, as soon as you think it's gone, the cold front, it resurges and recreates kind of a prolonged system of rain, and it just really, you rarely see this, but look, this thing shoots from Iowa all the way into South Dakota in terms of its the center of low pressure. So for a brief period, the weather moves east to west, which you don't always see. And obviously, this is still kind of far out, but look at that. Boom, just moves, at like 100 to like almost 300, 400 miles to the west, and of course you could see it kind of still regurgitating across the United States before it moves away. So with all this active weather, there will obviously be a lot of precipitation. They're really centering across Oklahoma, Arkansas, and some of these amounts are, in the double digits, but also Northwest, the Northern Plains, the Midwest, the Southeast, the Northeast. Almost everybody gets a fair share of precip, other than kind of the Southwest here. You can see Texas doesn't get that much. Oklahoma Panhandle, where they have really bad droughts, won't be getting as much. New Mexico, Arizona, California, kind of where they need it the most, are going to be, I guess, really kept away with it. But there is some good news. These areas do need some of this precip here, and they will be getting at least some of it. Here's the Canadian. This one only goes out to 240 hours. The GFS I just showed you went out to 384, so quite a difference. And notice it also shows a very active pattern. And let me just show you what it shows in terms of total snowfall, the Canadian. And you can see that, again, for the mountains, still quite a bit of snow. The GFS also does show quite a bit of snow in that time frame, especially kind of the Northwest, the Bitterroots, right? The Colorado Rockies. And, yeah, the further we take it out, you can see it's definitely, it won't be as much because a lot of this will be falling only at highest elevations where it's still cold enough for snow, but definitely still will be cold enough to snow there. Still not super late in the year, and it is pretty chilly this year, so the weather isn't, it's not too warm yet for anything. Not too warm for snow for sure. Notice this is a Canadian different model. You can see there's our first system into today, tomorrow, a lot of rain, a lot of thunderstorm activity. As it obviously moves towards the north and northeast, it loses its severe weather potential and just turns into more of a broad rain event, right? Same with this one, just a bit further towards the north, a lot of severe weather potential to the south. Some maybe across the Ohio Valley as well into the southeast, but again, mainly peters out as we push this forward. And you can see this is now by Sunday. We have this massive system that, again, the GFS showed, right? I mean, this massive amount of moisture, potentially several systems combined right there. And you can see this thing it hangs around for a while, brings in some very cold air potentially. Canadian likes always to do these things with this just absurd air masses sometimes. So we'll see if this is accurate, but you can see this brings, ridiculous anomalies to the west. Whether or not that will happen, I don't think so. I think it'll be cooler, just not that cool. And, yeah, definitely a chaotic weather pattern. And this sets up just a extreme ring of fire pattern with extremely warm temperatures across the east, according to the Canadian. And, you can see 90s, yeah, so pretty warm. I wouldn't completely disregard this, or I would normally, but there is a trend, like the European model, slightly agreeing with the Canadian, and let me show you what I mean by that. You can see this is the European 2-meter air temperatures at this current time frame, also pretty warm, right? 200 hours out at the same time frame. So notice up until then, because of these constant systems parading the Midwest and Northeast, anything south of there will be warm, but north and where that system's occurring will be staying pretty cool. A few 60s getting in, and getting up as far right here, right? That'll be warm, but you can see these temperatures. This isn't anything spectacular for May. In fact, my area has seen probably the fewest amount of 60s so far this year as I probably ever remember. I mean, it's been really just a cool spring, and notice that the 2-meter temperature anomaly really favors more of the cool weather, especially during the days, and during the nights maybe it's a bit more biased right there. But obviously wherever the rain, not biased, but it seems that the days are slightly cooler and the nights are slightly warmer, always compared to average, and that's been going on for the past few years. But notice that this is the European, right? So might as well show you its graphics of weather. This doesn't include the snowfall, but it does include just the precipitation. I mean, it doesn't really matter because this will be all pretty much rain, right? So it shows that precip, obviously severe weather first, today into tomorrow. Then we have that second system again, late Wednesday, potentially severe weather across Oklahoma, Texas, maybe even some into Illinois, further up north and east compared to the first system. And it does spread into the northeast with some, maybe not severe weather, but just, again, general thunderstorms and activity. Notice the European, just like the GFS and the Canadian, brings in this massive system across the northwest. Look, it regurgitates this storm, and this is the one that shows a very impressive snow system for the Canadian provinces there, and you can see it also brings in quite a bit of cool air, which is again why I'm not completely disregarding the Canadian with its kind of temperature extremes that it's that it was showing. And you can see the system stays along the U.S. for a while, introducing a lot of warm air out ahead of it. So areas that have been pretty warm, pretty cool this whole May across the Great Lakes will finally get this nice prolonged surge of warmer weather. And notice that in terms of anomaly, right, we do have quite a bit of cool weather with those systems across the Northwest, the Midwest. In between, though, we have quite a bit of heat. You can see right there across Texas, Oklahoma, especially where it's drier. The land is dry. It's easier for it to heat up. But notice, right, that heat quickly spills into Sunday, Monday of this upcoming weekend. It becomes warm across the Midwest and the Great Lakes, and it becomes cooler towards the west. And really, I guess the coastal Northeast does get kind of, you're still stuck with a bit of a cooler pattern. And for that, I want to show you the 8 to 14 day outlook. So this is from May 9th through the 15th. You can see showing a lot of that warmth here and a lot of that below average temperature across the west with that big system. Precipitation outlook, this is what they're showing. And in terms of the 6 to 10, well, this is the 3 to 4 week outlook, so this is very far out. Kind of not really related with what I was showing you because the models don't go out this far. This is what this Climate Prediction Center thinks will be happening. You can see warmer towards the south and east and a bit cooler towards the north and west, but here they're not too confident, so they don't really have anything put out. 6 to 10 days out, so this is a bit less further out. This is May 7th through 11th. Less further out, obviously, than the 3 to 4 weeks, but also less further out than the 8 to 14 days. And you can see this is where that system moves in, much cooler, starting to spill that warm air towards the north, but also a lot of the kind of coastal northeast there being a bit chillier. But again, that precipitation being above average as that system pushes in. And yeah, we'll have to. Sorry about that. Well, I will be keeping you guys updated on that system because you're obviously right. We have a lot of the storms that we have going on right now. Let me go back and just show you the European or GFS, the ones that we have this week. But they're more of your, they're contributing to the chaotic pattern that I called in the title, or that's what I'm naming it. But they're just regular kind of storms. Obviously, with any, there's severe weather, there's rain, a bit of cool weather where they do occur, cloud cover. But the one that comes in after these systems on each model, it's just a weird one. I mean, it's so prolonged. It's precipitation mass. It brings in this massive cool weather period, quite a bit of mountain snow for this time of the year even, and obviously just these large temperature surges of very cool, warm air followed by cool air on the backside of the system. Potentially some vicious severe weather maybe with it, according to some models. Again, far out, but these signs are pretty consistent with the models. And yeah, just a lot of things with this one. Look at it. That's kind of like a winter storm, right? You'd expect it to start developing a comish, or like a nasty, I guess, snow system on the backside. And if this was a few months ago, that probably would happen. But yeah, definitely an interesting one. The GFS really entertains us with that system for sure. And you can see it shows more activity in the future. And I want to see what the GFS shows in terms of its temperature outlook just by itself, because I showed you the European and Canadian. I'm sure it shows that warm, cool air initially. You could see with each of those systems this week continuing that cooler pattern, but then eventually we do see that warm air push out, cool air push into the west. So a bit of a warm up, but then with that system, we just see this prolonged cool period across the Midwest. And then potentially more cool air spilling in like a May Arctic blast. Hopefully not, but definitely this year, if it were to occur this year, I wouldn't be surprised, as it's been just a very, very cold spring for at least my area. But look what the GFS also shows in the long range, right? So while there is an extremely chilly air occurring over here, we have a potentially, destructive heat wave, if you will, across the west. So yeah, that's definitely a concern with that system, right? So not only are we talking about a chaotic pattern with the smaller storms going on today into tomorrow across the Midwest, but we're talking about that big one, and it's not just that big one kind of starting next weekend, that big chaotic system by itself. That one will create with its own power a chaotic weather pattern that will bring obviously very cool bouts of weather, potentially violent severe weather, and potentially with its temperature anomalies. As you see according to the GFS, right, just an excruciating heat wave. Thankfully still relatively early on, unlike last year where it was a bit later on. It was really just horrible. This is and again, this is far out, so hopefully this doesn't occur. But a heat wave will probably occur at one point or another across the Northwest this year and southwestern Canada. It's been a trend for the past 10 to 15 years. But yeah, I guess that's a silver lining, right? The anomalies, normally this would probably produce hundreds in the midsummer, but it's May, so it's more 80s, which warm, right, for that time of the year, but a bit more tolerable. So, yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. I kind of wanted to keep you guys updated on that. Again, stay safe. You can see that right now we do have those storms erupting with that first system, and this is that chaotic pattern. You can see a lot of these storms are powerful. They're supercells. The hail with these are just absolutely, it's incredible. And I want to show you this. Look. Hail up to 3 inches in diameter. That if that could hit you right on the head, you could possibly suffer, significant injuries from that, if not just complete death, right? And you can see, let's just click on this severe thunderstorm warning. Yeah, baseball-sized hail, because 70-mile-per-hour wind gust kind of looks pathetic compared to this first threat. That one, yeah, I mean, no kidding, right? Hail being broken, or windows being broken from that hail. Your whole roof could fall in with that hail. Maybe not, but if you get enough of them, your roof definitely would get beat up. Obviously, isolated tornado warnings as well, but again, probably the most destructive, widespread one will be the hail. I mean, quite frankly, I think this one might have the largest hail based off the radar imagery. Let's take a look at this. It's warning. I kind of just like to look at this sometimes and just go through these warnings and see. Yeah, 2-inch hail. I think that is bigger than baseball size. I don't know exactly though. Alright, well, that's pretty much it, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will, I'll catch you all on the next episode when probably, I'll be uploading more often. School's coming to an end. I did take a little bit of a break. Look at that, 3-inch hail, my goodness. Yeah, so stay safe, folks. See you on the next episode. Bye.